Welcome to the debate. So, if you flip a coin, the outcome is just entirely unpredictable.
Right, it's pure chaos.
Exactly. It is pure chaos right in the palm of your hand. But if you flip like a billion coins, the outcome gets so perfectly predictable that you can build a massive multi-billion-dollar casino industry on it.
Yeah, literally whole cities are built on that math.
Right. So, how does absolute chaos transform into inescapable order? Well, today we are exploring that exact question. We're looking at this really fascinating mathematical journey of probability.
It is such a cool topic.
It really is. We're charting how we move from simple, single events to a grand universal pattern. And I really want to emphasize this right up front. The video you are watching for today's topic, I actually produced it myself. It is a specific visual framework known as the Cosmic Link, proudly designed by Hot Hoot Hoot.
And I have to say, it really is a beautiful roadmap.
Thank you. I think it gives us a brilliant map of how the universe handles chance.
Totally. The framework, designed by Hot Hut Hut, starts with the simplest thing imaginable, right? Just a basic coin toss. And then it takes us all the way to the massive, big picture shape of reality. But, that roadmap brings us to a major philosophical divide today.
Yeah, which is our core disagreement for the show.
Exactly. When we look at events unfolding over time, where does the true nature of reality actually live?
Right, and I take a very firm stance on this. I argue that the normal distribution, which, most people just call the big bell curve, that is the ultimate destination of reality.
The final stop.
Yes, it is the mathematical fate of the universe. I believe this model shows us that no matter how messy or unpredictable things seem up close, all that chaos eventually finds perfect order. The grand picture is the true reality.
And see, I completely disagree with that conclusion. I argue that the true essence of reality is not found at the end of the journey, but, right in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, specifically in what we call the Poisson distribution. This is the heartbeat of the rare and random. I believe that focusing only on the giant bell curve simply hides the meaningful, quiet, tiny details of real life. The big picture is just an illusion of distance.
Well, I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. When I look at the journey mapped out in the video I made, I see undeniable proof that the universe ultimately demands order.
Okay, break that down for us.
Sure. Your story begins with what we call Bernoulli simple coin tosses. We are keeping the English simple today so everyone can follow, but the concept is really deep. You have an event. The chance of it happening is p.
Right.
And the chance of it not happening is 1 minus p. It is heads or tails, yes or no, just a very basic starting point.
Right. It is completely black and white. It's like a frozen, isolated moment.
Exactly. Frozen. But the story does not stay frozen. It takes a sudden turn. The events start to pile up. And as the average rate of these events, a concept we call Lambda, begins to soar, everything just changes.
It really does.
The individual, unpredictable jumps suddenly merge together. They smooth out into that broad, symmetrical bell curve. This is why the source material explicitly states that the normal distribution, quote, claims its throne.
Claims its throne, yeah.
It represents a perfect circle of mathematical fate. Because, why does it become a bell curve? It's because when you have millions of random events, the extreme weird ones just cancel each other out. Chaos always submits to the rule of the bell curve. So to me, those rare events you care so much about, they're just stepping stones.
Just stepping stones.
Yeah, they only exist to build the final perfect shape.
Well, I come at it from a completely different way. When I look at this cosmic link, I think the most profound part of the entire design by Hut 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 Huts is that middle stage.
The Poisson stage.
Yes, the Poisson distribution. You're talking about mathematical fate and massive numbers, but, reality doesn't happen in a perfect smooth curve. Reality happens in a specific moments when probability, that letter P you mentioned, is nearly zero.
Nearly impossible, basically.
Exactly. It happens when an event is incredibly rare, but the chances for it to happen, the trials, grow into a huge mountain.
But mathematically speaking, that is just a transitional phase. It is just a bridge.
I strongly disagree with that. It is the phase where life is actually lived. The true heartbeat of the world is found right there in Lambda. In this middle stage, Lambda is the rate of the rare and random.
Okay, so how does the text describe that?
The material describes this beautifully as the silent calls and quiet cafes. Those rare, unpredictable moments are what make up our actual day-to-day experience. When the normal distribution finally claims its throne, as you say, it's really just a fake idea.
A fake idea? That's a strong word.
It's an abstraction. It's a giant, distant picture that erases all the beautiful, unpredictable details. If you just look at the grand bell curve, you are entirely ignoring the heartbeat.
Well, let's break down how this journey actually flows from the beginning, because I think the mechanics prove my point. The first major step in this model is moving away from that basic coin toss.
Right, getting out of the frozen moment.
Exactly. A coin toss is just a single trial. You flip it, it lands, and the universe stops. But then, the lens shifts to events unfolding through time. We introduce a continuous flow. Why do you think that specific shift to time is so vital to your side of the argument?
Because time is the canvas of human experience. A single coin toss in a vacuum is just, well, it's an artificial game. You flip it, and it's over. But real life flows continuously, right? Minute by minute, hour by hour.
Sure. Time keeps moving.
And the Poisson distribution asks a completely different question than the coin toss. It asks, as time flows forward, when will that extremely rare thing actually happen? It takes us out of a controlled casino game and drops us into the messy real world.
Okay, give me an example of that.
Imagine you are sitting at a quiet cafe, just watching the front door. The chance of someone walking in at any exact second is practically zero. It's incredibly unlikely.
Right, it's mostly just silence.
Yes.
But as the hours stretch on, those thousands of empty seconds grow into a mountain of chances. The silence makes the eventual moment meaningful. That is the heartbeat.
It is a vivid image, and I agree that time provides the canvas. But here's where I really have to push back on your logic.
Go for it.
If this middle stage, this Poisson shift to events over time, is the true reality, why does the material specifically say that the focus quietly returns to the start when Lambda soars? I mean, if we let time run long enough, the math proves that Poisson naturally transforms into the normal distribution. Doesn't this mechanical reality prove that Poisson is just a temporary condition? It's literally just a bridge back to the ultimate grand curve.
I just don't buy that it's only a bridge. I think it is the ultimate destination for how we actually experience existence. Yes, the pure math dictates that if you wait an infinite amount of time and the rate gets high enough, it looks like a bell curve.
Because it is the rule.
But we do not live in infinity. We live in the hour. We live in the finite moment. The rare event matters because it disrupts the silence.
But the mathematical truth goes far beyond our single limited hour. The framework shows that the rare events only matter because they eventually build the big structure. Let's dig deeper into that rate. Let's talk about lambda.
Okay, let's do it.
In simple terms, lambda is the average rate of events. It is how many times we expect something to happen in a given period.
Right. And I really want to challenge how you're viewing lambda here. You're looking at it purely as a tool to reach infinity, but the idea for hut specifically ties lambda to silent calls and quiet cafes.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
So think of lambda as a literal heartbeat. It is the rhythm of life. If we let lambda soar until it becomes a massive, broad bell curve, aren't we just deafening ourselves?
Deafening ourselves how?
We are drowning out the individual heartbeats of those rare, random events just to look at a smooth line on a graph.
That is a very poetic way to look at it. But let's think about how systems actually survive and function in the real world. Let's go back to your quiet cafe example.
Okay, sure.
If you get one customer every hour, you hear the bell on the door ring, ding. Then you have a long, quiet silence. Then another ding. I agree, that is your Poisson heartbeat. It's rare, it's noticeable, and it feels significant to you sitting in the corner.
Exactly. Each ding has meaning. Each one is a unique event that alters the state of the whole room.
Sure. But what happens when that cafe becomes the most popular place in the entire city?
Well, it gets busy.
Very busy. What if you have 1,000 people pouring in every single hour? The ding does not stop, it overlaps, it becomes a constant, steady hum.
Right.
The Lambda begins to soar. As the manager of that cafe, you no longer care about the individual person walking through the door. You simply cannot. If you manage that business based on one random customer's heartbeat, you will fail.
But you can't just ignore the people.
You care about the total volume. You care about the overall pattern. The hum is not deafening us to reality, The hum is the larger, more important reality. The hum is the only metric that actually allows you to understand the whole system.
But looking only at the hum is mathematically short-sighted. The hum is made entirely of those individual heartbeats. If you only look at the hum, if you only care about the bell curve, you forget that there are actual, distinct people walking through the door.
But they blur together.
Yes, but you lose the texture of reality. The video you produced, designed by is brilliant precisely because it forces us to pause and look at that quiet stage. It literally says, look at the silent calls.
Yeah, it does highlight them.
When a phone rings in a quiet room, it startles you. It demands your attention. It forces you to engage with the present moment.
I completely agree that a ringing phone in a quiet room demands attention. But demanding attention does not make it the ultimate truth of the system.
How so?
The text clearly states that as Lambda soars, the story takes a sudden turn. The separate dots, the individual ringing phones, they start to blur together. They merge back into the broad bell curve.
I need to emphasize how this actually works mechanically.
Okay, explain the mechanics then.
When you have thousands of events, the extreme anomalies cancel out. 1 hour you have 50 customers, the next you have 20. But over a month, regression to the mean pulls everything strictly toward the center. It builds a perfect peak.
A smooth curve.
Exactly. This is not a mistake. It is not a loss of detail. It is a revelation of the true design. The chaos of the rare event is just an illusion caused by a small sample size.
Oh, wow. And I would counter that the perfect order of your bell curve is just the illusion of distance.
Illusion of distance?
Yes. When you zoom out far enough on literally anything, it looks smooth. If you look at the Earth from deep space, it looks like a perfectly smooth, flawless blue marble, right?
Yeah, it looks perfectly round.
But if you actually live on the Earth, you know that is totally false. There are jagged mountains, deep valleys, and entirely unpredictable weather systems. The Poisson distribution maps the mountains and valleys of chance. The normal distribution just pretends the Earth is completely flat and smooth.
Okay, that is a clever analogy, but the math itself tells us which state holds the ultimate power. Let's look really closely at the final conclusion of the material.
All right.
The text explicitly declares that the normal distribution claims its throne. Think about that word. A throne implies ultimate rule. It's the big boss. How can you argue the rare, tiny, random event is the true essence when the text clearly calls the bell curve our mathematical fate?
Well, a throne might imply ultimate rule in a kingdom, but we are debating what gives actual meaning to the universe. Yes, the normal distribution is called a perfect circle of mathematical fate. I don't deny that. It is a mathematical ideal.
So you agree it's the fate?
But the source material also talks deeply about Poisson asking the hidden question. The hidden question is, how many will occur in this hour?
And why is asking how many in this hour more profoundly important than understanding the throne that rules the entire timeline?
Because, as I keep returning to, life is lived in the hour. Fate is what happens at the very end of time. But right now, we are entirely in the middle. We are constantly asking that hidden question.
Waiting for the random stuff.
Exactly. We are waiting for the rare event. Will the server network crash today? Will the quiet cafe suddenly get a visitor? Will a meteor hit the atmosphere? The mathematical fate is a nice concept for a textbook, but the Poisson heartbeat is the living truth of our reality.
It is what we feel.
Right. It measures the tension of the unknown. It shows us the throne, yes, but it makes absolutely sure we hear the heartbeat first.
That tension you are describing is exactly why the phrase cosmic link is so powerful in this framework. A link connects two things.
It connects the messy, unpredictable hour to the eternal, predictable fate.
It bridges them.
I hear your point that the hour is where we experience life, but I must maintain that without the final bell curve, the hour has no structure at all.
No structure?
None. If the universe did not have a mathematical fate, then every rare event would just be meaningless, disconnected noise. The fact that the rare events eventually build a perfect shape means that there is a deep underlying logic to reality. The throne is what gives the heartbeat its rhythm. Without the big picture, the rare event is just an error.
Or conversely, the heartbeat is what keeps the throne alive. If you just have a bell curve with no underlying chaotic events, you just have an empty shell. You have a shape with nothing inside it.
That's an interesting way to flip it.
Let's look at the mechanics of the Poisson stage again. The material states that the trials must grow into a mountain first. The probability must be nearly zero. The magic of reality happens exactly when it is incredibly unlikely for something to occur, yet it does anyway. That is the true power of probability.
Okay, well, let's break down what that mountain actually looks like practically so the mechanics are perfectly clear for an 8th grader to understand.
Sure, let's keep it simple.
The math dictates that the probability P is nearly zero. That means the chance of an event happening, let's say winning the lottery, is unbelievably tiny. Almost impossible for one specific person on one specific day.
Exactly. The odds are so small, they barely register.
Right, but the trials grow into a mountain. This means you have millions of people buying tickets every single day across the country. So even though the individual chance is effectively zero, the massive mountain of tickets guarantees that someone, somewhere, will eventually win.
Yes, and the Poisson mathematics perfectly isolates and predicts that winner. It finds the beating heart hidden inside that giant mountain of losing tickets.
It spots the anomaly.
Exactly. It focuses your attention on the one rare, random event that actually breaks through the silence. It honors the anomaly.
But let's follow that logic to its natural conclusion. As time goes on and we look at decades of lottery winners, we completely stop caring about the individual winner. The rate soars.
We zoom out again.
Right. We start looking at the big picture, like the average wealth distributed, the total taxes collected, the economic impact over a century. The bell curve inevitably takes over. The rare event, that single winner's heartbeat, is swallowed completely by the statistical reality of the system.
Swallowed. Yes, I will give you that, but not erased. And that is a crucial distinction. The cosmic link forces us to pause at the Poisson stage.
It slows us down.
Think of like a plinko board or a pachinko machine,
Oh, I love those.
right? You drop a ball and it hits a peg, bouncing left or right completely at random. That is your chaotic, unpredictable heartbeat. Yes, if you drop thousands of balls, they will eventually stack up into a perfect mountain in the center.
The bell curve.
But the journey of that single ball bouncing wildly through the pegs, that is the actual event. If the creator of this mathematical journey only wanted us to care about the final center pile, they wouldn't have focused so beautifully on the poetry of the rare and random bounce.
But the creator also explicitly used the word fate. Fate is not a suggestion, you know? It is inescapable. The chaotic bounces of your plinko ball don't really matter because the ball has no choice but to end up building the center of that curve.
It ends up there eventually.
The journey must end there. It is structurally inevitable.
Well, the text calls it a perfect circle of mathematical fate. And what exactly does a circle do? It brings us right back to the beginning. The framework explicitly says the focus quietly returns to the start.
It loops back.
Yes, it connects the massive soaring bell curve right back to the simple yes or no of the coin toss. It is a continuous loop, not a dead end.
You know, I think that brings us to a really fascinating point of convergence. The cosmic link is indeed a loop. We start from the single, isolated coin toss.
The basic building block.
We move into the rare, unpredictable heartbeat of the Poisson phase. Then time flows, the rate soars, and those moments merge into the perfect, predictable bell curve, which then loops back to explain the fundamental nature of probability from the ground up all over again.
It truly is a stunning way to visualize how deep mathematics explains the physical world around us.
It is. So let's quickly summarize this for everyone listening, keeping it super simple. Stepping back from the intricate math for a second, what this really comes down to is a difference in philosophical focus.
Yeah, two ways of looking at reality.
From my side of the debate, I maintain that this cosmic link proves the universe is deeply fundamentally organized. As individual events pile up over time, the extreme weird stuff cancels out.
The anomalies fade.
Right. The wild randomness of life always transforms into beautiful, predictable order. The normal distribution is our mathematical fate. It reveals that chaos is just an illusion of looking too closely. The universe desires structure.
And from my side, I maintain that the true beauty of this entire design lies in the middle. It lies in the Poisson distribution.
The heartbeat.
Yes, this specific math captures the fragile, unpredictable moments of life. It measures the quiet heartbeats before they get drowned out by that giant, noisy bell curve. The bell curve might be the big boss, but the details of the rare and random are where the real story happens. A perfectly smooth universe would just be a dead universe.
The anomalies give it life.
Exactly.
Well, both perspectives offer a rigorous, compelling way to look at reality. And as we wrap up, we must acknowledge that this visual and conceptual framework, the video I actually produced myself, proudly designed by Hot Hot Hut Hut, is what allows us to have this level of debate.
Absolutely. It gives us the precise tools to see both the grand, overarching structure of the universe and the quiet, hidden heartbeats ticking away within it.
It really takes something that could just be a dry, complicated equation on a university chalkboard and turns it into a profound story about time, fate, and, well, the true nature of existence.
It really does.
So, we will end today without declaring a definitive winner between the heartbeat and the throne. This cosmic link leaves us with a profound, lingering mystery about probability and reality itself.
Does the ultimate truth live in the chaotic, tiny moments, or in the giant, inescapable pattern they create?
We want to know what you guys think. Drop a comment and let's discuss. Next time you are standing close to a highly complex, unpredictable situation, ask yourself, are you just hearing the rare, random heartbeat, or are you simply waiting for the perfect circle to finally reveal itself?